Hello everyone, welcome to my The Way Home official channel. I hope everyone is having a great day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. There will be a lot of surprises when you watch The Way Home Season 2 Episode 2 on Hallmark Channel the following week. Given what has already transpired with Kat and Alice, how can you not be? According to the teasers of what's to come, Alice in particular is going to have quite the trip back in time to when Elliot was a teenager. You can see her on the other side of the water, screaming out for Kat, who is obviously unable to answer if you watch our most recent recordings. She is now exploring what appears to be the entire White Witch plot that was hinted to in Season 1, back in the 1800s. Given that these people are located in distinct timelines, there is evidently a great deal that can be investigated and altered. In addition, there are things that could have a significant impact on the present. Naturally, one of the most important ones will be finding out more about what transpires with Jacob and how it ties into a plethora of other topics. To be honest, the show has so much more to cover in terms of its own mechanics and the actual workings of all this time travel. We are only beginning to scratch the surface of anything in that way. Just keep in mind that, while being a drama, we believe the show is supposed to be optimistic. We find it difficult to believe that once everything is said and done, we will only have a series of gloomy tales. Though we might have to wait for some, we personally do prefer to believe that the authors are going to intend to bring us some stories that are a little more cheerful and hopeful in character. You're going to watch The Way Home Season 2 Episode 2 on Hallmark Channel this weekend, and there's a ton of exciting stuff up ahead. For the purposes of this most recent teaser, Elliot and Dell Landry, who, as we all know, is doing everything in her power to support the farm, will be the main subjects. Will a land proposal be absolutely necessary in this case? We tend to believe so at this time. A glimpse of what's to come shows how these two will be interacting. In addition to providing yet another excellent reminder of what Dell is attempting to do, it sheds some light on Elliot's background and family. We do believe that this is one of the advantages of a program moving into a new phase of its existence, because there is a lot of material to be mined here throughout the season. We know that Elliot especially has much more to this than what we've seen in terms of his relationship with Kat, so there's a lot more to learn about him. You can be sure that there will be plenty more stories between Kat and Elliot during the season, even though it is obvious that they will face some difficulties. Currently, one of the most popular is time travel, since Chyla Leigh's character is known to be traveling far into the past to find out what really happened to Jacob. Will the second episode contain a lot of answers to that question? It is human nature to anticipate something. On the other hand, there will be a gradual sequence of revelations over time. Fans are avidly debating a number of fresh thoughts and topics that were offered in Hallmark's The Way Home Season 2 Episode 2. One concerned Elliot's notebook and a voice-hearing flashback he was experiencing at the Lingamore estate. Read Elliot's journal entry below, along with a transcript of what closed captioning said he heard during his flashback and an explanation of how this might relate to certain popular hypotheses at the moment. We now know that Kat is officially in the past, way back in the past, after the conclusion of The Way Home's second season opener. Now that she and Alice are in separate time periods, we might expect tension to arise. Naturally, Kat will also be traveling in a state of desperation as she searches for Jacob, which in and of itself will be a very stressful experience. She's going back to the 1800s after all. She doesn't know the whole tale, despite some hints as to what transpired there, and she will need to delve more into it as time goes on. Following the premiere, star Chyla Leigh spoke with TV Line about this experience in more detail. Here is what he had to say. When Kat says, "Jacob, I'll be back for you," at the end of Season 1, we finally get to see how she is that white witch, and that is what I love most about Season 2. Given that, we can be certain that he is somewhere. We are aware that there may be a connection of some kind, and she has discovered something extremely important from the 1800s. The interesting thing about this is that she may not even be aware of how it was all put together. And thus we learn the true meaning of even the White Witch lore that everyone in the modern world is familiar with. That's what we learn about during Kat's 1800s search for Jacob. Thus, the entire season is such a fantastic journey thematically, and we get to truly understand each character who lived in the 1800s and their part in it, as well as the beginnings of the Landry family and the Augustines, and how this town, Port Haven, which we as viewers have grown to love, came to be, and who had the most influence on it. This season, this plot is actually one of the ones we're most looking forward to seeing, mainly because it gives us the opportunity to explore so many various avenues. We're excited to learn more and more about Kat's future at this point, as well as how it will affect the here and now. We're excited to see what the producers will do with this whole storytelling device, which is somewhat unusual for Hallmark. The time period covered by Elliot's diary entries corresponded with the one Alice was exploring in Season 2, Episode 2. Although Heavy doesn't provide screenshots from our stories, a public The Way Home Facebook group post has screenshots of Elliot's notebook entries. The first entry in the journal dates back to January 17, 2000. It says this: "Alright, end of my last theory. The intervals between Alice's visits aren't growing more extended, because she's already returned. Right when I thought I might have this pond worked out somewhat, but nope, it causes me problems." Thus, Alice returned, and brought Nick to an end. At last. That was where things really started to become strange. Similar to where was she expecting that to end up, it was completely inappropriate, and I'm relieved she ended it. Okay, but the guy has my sympathy. He is quite agitated. How do I explain to him that it's ideal for so many reasons? I guess he just needs some time. Yes, terrible pun. Though I'm not sure how he'll remember Alice. Whatever the case, all Dew needs to do is move on. He will be all right. Before it, though difficult to read, we can also make out a portion of an earlier journal post. Just a few words, like getting longer, are visible. This has to have a purpose, doesn't it? Is it making its way to us? What is it? The next diary entry on the page is from February 20, 2000, Colton's funeral. It says this: "Alice arrived before Colton's funeral. Honestly, I found it difficult to concentrate on it. Feel as though everything had collapsed. Nothing has gone as planned since her arrival. What is meant by that? Alice got there right before the family service started. I'm beginning to believe the pond is unkind in that way. Bringing her back right before a crucial event, and really personal. Well, I am aware that it is her granddad. Still though, I treat him almost as a father figure. And all I want is, if only I had more time, to simply be alone themselves. Colton is no longer with us. I'm still in shock about this." June 24, 2000 is the date of the very next entry on the second page of his journal. It says this: "It's unbelievable that I'm resuming my journal. After 4 months, but Alice returned. I believe I had only 2 minutes to spend with her. Yet I'm certain that wasn't a dream. It was more akin to a nightmare. The day before Kat leaves, the day after I graduate, Alice returns. Why? I had come from the farm to this place, trying to spend as much time as possible with Kat before she leaves. Why is she leaving? And in the woods I heard Alice, phoning, but for what? She was terrified. However, Alice, well, likewise I was. She claimed that she wasn't meant to be here. Alice, you know what? You're not. Poof, gone. The horrible truth is that I kind of hope she never returns." June 26, 2000 is the next entry. Though it's more hazy, making it more difficult to read, what can be seen is this: "She returned to." It is difficult to read. The sarcasm is hazy. It's reasonable to presume that the sections of the journal that are more difficult to read don't include any groundbreaking information based on the other entries. All of the information in his notebook aligns with what we saw when Alice and Elliot first met and spoke. Elliot heard voices when he looked up the stairs at the Lingermore estate. These were the voices from a painful recollection or flashback from his past. The voices might be heard on streaming services thanks to closed captioning. He initially hears the words, "She said she wants you to leave," from his younger self. Then, closed captioning reports that Alice was told to simply return inside by Kat. Brady then said, "Get out of here, buddy." Okay. Then he heard a woman screaming, but the identity of the woman was not revealed by closed captioning. The concept that Alice went back in time one more time and experienced another catastrophe is one possibility that fans are debating. Elliot in the present may be attempting to talk Kat and Alice out of time traveling for the sake of doing so because of this. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and don't miss any updates.